The inflation rate has been lowered by cutting jobs, increasing unemployment, privatizing government work, and cutting wages. The poverty rate in Argentina has increased substantially. We want to bring you this really quick story out of Argentina. Travel plans were disrupted for more than 1 million passengers in Argentina last week as transportation unions went on 24 to 36-hour strikes last week against the austerity measures of President Javier Milei. Over 1,800 trains and 260 flights were canceled. Milei has continued a program of cutting jobs and allowing wages to stagnate. This strike specifically is targeted at the government's plan to privatize the national airline Aerolínea Argentinas, as well as the government's continued proposing of cutbacks and the increased poverty levels that have resulted from Milei's policies. This is important because libertarians and right-wing types are pointing to Milei right now as an economic success, someone to base the United States economy on, including Elon Musk, who is posed to have a major role in the Trump administration. These American fans of Milei will point to declining inflation in Argentina as evidence of the success of Milei's political program. It is true that the rate of inflation is decreasing, although, as we know from the United States' situation, the effect of inflation is cumulative, and decreasing the rate of inflation does not end those cumulative effects. But even after Milei's massive overhauls to Argentina's economic policies, inflation remains at a monthly rate of 4%, which would obviously be significantly higher annually, something like 50%. Annually, right now, it is at 209% under Milei. It's the lowest in a few years, to be sure, but still extraordinarily and unsustainably high, whereas the U.S. annual inflation rate, which these types are, deriding, Elon Musk says inflation is too high. The United States inflation annual rate is right now at 2.4%. But this decreased inflation rate for Argentina has not brought with it relief for working people. Because the inflation has been lowered, or the inflation rate has been lowered by cutting jobs, increasing unemployment, privatizing government work, and cutting wages, the poverty rate in Argentina has actually increased substantially by 11 percentage points, with now over 50% of Argentinians living in poverty. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. So while the inflation rate for the last year was 209%, public sector wages only rose by 93% in the first 8 months of 2024. Over 20 percentage points below the 116% increase in the wages in the private sector, and below the 94% increase in inflation accumulated up to August in the year 2024. This is according to EFE, a South American news agency. They also report that the union claims 75% of public workers have incomes below the poverty line. Further, EFE reports, according to official figures, by August, the public administration and state-owned companies had 309,000 workers, some 30,000 fewer than before the Milei government took office. The downsizing of the state is set to continue as the government announced that it will test the aptitude of 40,000 employees on temporary contracts that will only be renewed if they pass. On Wednesday, the government said it would ask some 10,000 workers to start retiring. The government's plans also include privatization of public companies, which is expected to affect over 100,000 workers. This is why the transportation unions are striking. A quote from the Buenos Aires Times: "A significant section of the population is having a hard time," says Pablo Moyana, a leader of the Confederación General de Trabajo, CGT, umbrella union group, Argentina's main labor federation. He said this to the local Radio 10 station. He said the strike also aimed to defend the sovereignty of Argentina's national transport sector and prevent state companies from being sold to foreign investors for a few bucks. Juan Pablo Gray, the leader of the Association Argentina de the airline workers union, said that the protest was not just for their workers. Quote, "We are fighting not only for sectoral issues, but for education, health, retirees, and for everything that this government is destroying," said Gray. Union leaders, staging a press conference late Wednesday night, warned the government that they were only just warming up and that further strikes would be coming down the line.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.